And we're live 2 days in a row. Day 2 of the continuous live stream. It might end at day 2, but we will see. I'm live streaming today because I read some stuff which bothered me and I want to share it with you folks. Right? That's why I'm live streaming. So I found something on the interwebs, the internets, and I'm annoyed. I'm disappointed. I'm heartbroken. I'll tell you why. Welcome to the live stream. It's yeah. So I don't understand it. This thing is like it's a pain that's been happening for a while now. It's disappointment and heartbreak that's been happening for a while, and I think I'm at this point where I have to vocalize it and share my disappointment with you folks as well. I'll tell you what that is. Let me open up the chat so that you can see it. I'm matching the Firefox theme. Oh man, I didn't even realize it. You guys are amazing at pointing such stuff out. I didn't even realize. I've done a little bit of color matching in the past, but this one's unintentional. Okay, we need to talk about something. This is going to be a bit of a rant, and it is something that I'm a little heartbroken about, because for the longest period of time, right, we are all programmers. We have our favorite IDEs, we have our favorite coding prompts, we have our favorite operating systems, right? It's a part of our identity. It's a part of who we think we are. It's that unique combination of choices that make us who we are. And one of the things that we always use, no matter whether you're a programmer or not, is a web browser, right? And you obviously use web browsers. Everybody has their favorites. For the longest period of time, I was a big fan of Firefox, right? And I've recommended Firefox to people on this stream. Some of my previous tutorials, if you see the browser, like I've done a bunch of React tutorials or Angular tutorials, the browser that I use in those tutorials is Firefox, right? And I use Firefox Developer Edition. I'm going to be using Firefox for this stream as well, but I don't know. I'm a bit heartbroken. I feel a little betrayed. I feel a little embarrassed, and honestly tired. It's not just about a browser. I mean, a browser is a browser, fine, but it's about what the browser used to mean, and Firefox used to mean a lot more. And I'll tell you the reason why I would recommend Firefox. And I was such a champion. I was rooting for Mozilla. I was rooting for Firefox to succeed. And now it's like, man, it's let me down. It's let me down. Why not AI enabled browser? I'll tell you. But it's not just this thing. If you've seen the news, you know what I'm talking about. But it's not just the news, right? It's why would I recommend Firefox? Why was I such a staunch champion? I'm a guy who likes to root for the underdog in general. Okay, when I'm seeing a sports competition, like a match, and there is one team which is like a powerhouse, it's like guaranteed to win, and there's another team which is like not as good, but they're doing their best, they're pouring their heart into it. I root for that team. I root for the team, the underdog, so that they can kind of shine. I root for effort rather than the champion status. It's always been the case. But even in general, the whole reason, you folks know why Firefox was created, right? This was around the time when Internet Explorer, I think IE6 was the biggest browser in the world, and it became big because it was cheating, right? Microsoft was honestly cheating. They had they had Windows. Everybody installed Windows. That was the most popular operating system at the time. And they kind of bundled Internet Explorer with Windows. And as a result, everybody used Internet Explorer because default is the obvious choice and the most popular choice. And because of that, because of how popular Internet Explorer was, Microsoft at some point stopped innovating with IE, right? They said, this is fine. People are using it. Why do I need to add more features? There's no competition, right? The advancement, the investment to make things better only happens when there's competition. And Internet Explorer did not have competition. And as a result, web development was very, very painful. I remember doing JavaScript at the time, okay? And it was a weird JavaScript where I had to work with jQuery. And jQuery kind of came about because IE6 was crap. And you used to have these works best on IE badges. I don't know if you folks like who are you're old enough to remember that. It was almost like the web was being held hostage because Internet Explorer was popular and there was nothing else that could beat it. Hold on a second. Let me do the comment thing because I want to add comments here or nah, maybe not. I'll just talk because it's a rant. So I'm pissed. So IE was this juggernaut. It was ruling the whole web space. And from there, it was competing with Netscape Navigator, which it completely destroyed. Netscape Navigator went down in flames. And from the flames came this thing called Phoenix, right? It was the bird that rises from the ashes. It was a browser that was created called Phoenix that was supposed to take on the big Internet Explorer. It was the underdog. It was supposed to do stuff that IE was not doing. It was supposed to be a nonprofit with a mission. It was a foundation. It was not a corporation, right? And that was Mozilla. Mozilla created this thing called Phoenix. I think they had this tagline called Take Back the Web or something like that. And it was meant to be everything that Internet Explorer was not. Internet Explorer was a corporate product. It was meant to create profits for the company. And Phoenix browser, which soon became, I think it was called like Phoenix. There was a company called Phoenix. Well, let's actually look that up. I want to do this. There was a company called Phoenix that didn't like the name. So they said, well, you got to change it. You can't call it Phoenix. And so they called it Firebird or something, and then it became Firefox. Yeah, there you go. So they called it Phoenix. This was the logo. This was the first Firefox, by the way. This is on Windows XP. You remember these buttons and fonts? Crazy. So it was called Phoenix. They changed the name because there was Phoenix Technologies. There you go. So the trademark claim from Phoenix Technologies. So they called it Firebird. And then there was something else that was called, there was a Firebird database software project. So later they said, okay, we're going to call it Firefox. So this is how Firefox came about, right? It was a response to the kind of overwhelming domination of Internet Explorer. They said, we're going to take back the web, right? And Firefox became special not just because of that. It did a bunch of things really, really well, right? It had, I think it was the first browser that introduced tabbed browsing. We didn't have tabbed browsing back then. Firefox introduced it, and it was revolutionary at the time. And they had extensions. I think IE6 had extensions, but it was crappy, as with most things IE6. Firefox had extensions which kind of gave the extension author full control of the browser, and it's been getting better and better since. And it was open source, And it was this privacy first philosophy, right? Firefox had always been, if you want privacy, you got to choose Firefox, because you don't know what these other browsers are doing. Because think about it, right? You have Internet Explorer, which is owned by Microsoft. You have Safari, which is owned by Apple. Both of them are a commercial company, right? They are both commercial companies, and they have vested interest in developing the browser to serve their needs. They want to make money, right? Microsoft had their own reasons for doing it. They wanted to monopolize the internet, and Apple had Safari as their way to build it into their laptops and desktops, because they were selling computers and they needed an off-the-shelf browser because they didn't want to bring in something else, right? They wanted to build their own stuff. So they rolled out their browser for their devices. And yeah, I'm going to talk about Chrome in a bit. But at that time, it was just Internet Explorer and Safari, right? And Firefox came up and they said, we don't have a vested commercial interest. The only reason Firefox was created and it existed was to serve the user. It was open source. It was privacy focused. It was doing community driven development. It was all the stuff that we want ideally technology to be, right? We want to serve people and not corporations. And Firefox did succeed. It got about, at its peak, it was about 30% market share. Right? It was a huge market share. It was really good. I mean, imagine IE was a juggernaut, and for it to even come to 30% of the market share was amazing. And they didn't have like a huge backing. They didn't have millions of dollars poured into it. They just did it because it was privacy focused and they had features and it was efficient. It was good. And it was good while it lasted, right? It was the browser that proved that you could challenge Microsoft. And it was honestly a beacon of hope for everything open source, right? That is the Firefox I signed up for. That's the one that I want. That's the Firefox that I told everybody. That's the one that I told you to use. But let me tell you what happens next. What happened next? Can you guess? I think around 2008, Google entered the space with something called Chrome, right? Chrome wasn't fast. It wasn't something that, other browsers didn't have. It didn't have new features or anything like that. They said it was fast, but at the time of release, it honestly wasn't. What it was relentlessly marketed, right? Google was popular as a search engine at the time, right? Everybody was using Google as a search engine. It was revolutionary, great. That's something that nobody else had done at the time. Yes, hats off to Google for that. But every Google property at the time started pushing Chrome as this new browser, which was amazing, revolutionary. It was integrated with all the Google services. And people they were already using Google at the time and they went with Chrome. It was the same story all over again. Windows. People are already using Windows. They went with IE6. Here, people are using Google's products. They went with Chrome, not because it was bundled in. People had to do a download and install, right? But people still did it because it was relentlessly, marketed, right? You open any Google page, it would show up like this works best in Google. Like, do you want to use Google Chrome? You're already using Google search. Here is Chrome. It's actually better in Chrome. You should try Chrome. It was pushed relentlessly. And because of that, the market share began to drop, right? What was 30% for Firefox now is like what, 2%, 3%? Let's see. Let's check. Stat counter. Browser market share, right? If you look at the current market share, look at this. Chrome is at 71%. Safari is 14% because of, I'm willing to bet it's because of iPhones, right? Everybody uses iPhones, and iPhone has, I wouldn't say everybody, but you get the idea. iPhone default browser is Safari, right? You have Edge, which is just sitting there. at 4.98%. Edge is like, it's a weird story. I'm going to get to the Edge in a bit. But Firefox, look at this, 2.3%. That's the market share right now. All right. What are we looking at? We're looking at 2024. I'm going to edit the data. Let's go all the way back. Let's do 2009. Why not? View chart, right? Okay, look at this. 2010. What are the numbers here? Okay, so this is Firefox, right? This is Firefox, right? 2010, it was 31.2%, right? February 2010. And this was around the time that Chrome was just like, see here, Chrome was sitting here at around 6%, 7%. It was just starting here, right? And look at how fast it's grown. Now, Chrome is leading at 70%, and Firefox is just languishing here somewhere. It's like, I can't even find it among. It's about the same as Samsung Internet, really. It's a shame. Come on. What are the other browsers here? UC browser? Firefox is about the same as that. Yeah. That's what happened, right? Chrome happened, and everybody switched to Chrome for whatever reason. Everybody switched to Chrome. And it's the market slide happened. Everybody went down to everybody switched to Chrome, and then Firefox obviously went down. Now, the sad part is, if you look at the what makes money for Mozilla and Firefox, the biggest revenue source is actually Google right now, right? Google is paying about $500 million, around $500 million per year, is going to Firefox. If you look at what's making the biggest revenue for Firefox, if you look at the numbers for Mozilla's yearly report, right, financial report, the biggest revenue is from Google. You might ask, why is Google paying Firefox? Google is creating Chrome, which is a competitor to Firefox. Why is Google paying money to Firefox? Well, Google is paying money to Firefox to make sure that the default search engine on Firefox is Google. You install Firefox on any machine, you want to do a search, by default, the search engine used is Google. And guess what happens when you open google.com search on Firefox? It'll say, don't you want to use Chrome? Chrome is so much better. You get the idea, right? So they're paying money to Firefox so that it shows up Google as a default. And when Google shows up as a default, there is a thing which says, hey, you should consider using Chrome. Now you can understand why this is happening. So anyway, the fact of the matter is, Firefox is being kept alive by its biggest competitor, right? Around 90% of Mozilla's revenue comes from the company that they're supposed to be an alternative to, all right? Now, what's the problem with Google Chrome, right? You say IE is trying to get revenue to Microsoft, and Safari is trying to get revenue to Apple. Well, Chrome is trying to get revenue to Google, obviously, right? They want to integrate it with their platform and their services, and they want to make more money with ads. Their goal is not privacy and customer-centric decision making that Firefox has. Even Google doesn't have our best interests in heart. They're trying to make money for Google. So there have been some antitrust cases, and I have this link here. Let me open this link and I'll share it with you. So there was this. Let me open this here. There was this court case that happened where the judge said Google is doing something which it shouldn't be doing. It's a monopoly, right? It's saying you're not supposed to be doing this. There was an antitrust case, and Google actually suffered an antitrust case loss. And it said that you see here, it's like the US Department of Justice, Mehta, the judge presiding over the trial, ruled that the tech giant has illegally maintained a monopoly through the billions of dollars in annual payments it makes to partners to secure the default search engine position on popular web browsers and mobile phones. So Google is paying money. It also pays money to Safari, by the way, right? When you open Safari on a Mac device, what's the default search engine that comes up? It's Google. And it's no surprise that the browser that Google pushes through all these other browsers happens to be Chrome. And now Chrome is getting more and more popular. And the browsers that launched users to Chrome are getting less and less popular, but they still have Google as the default search engine, right? Google is paying Safari, Google is paying Firefox. Google doesn't have enough money to pay Microsoft for Edge because Microsoft has have a more revenue potential with pushing Bing, and that's the reason why Google, like if Google could do this, it would push google.com to Edge browsers as well. They just cannot. It's just that Microsoft has better interest in pushing Bing. So that's the one that's stopped. But everywhere else, Google is actually pushing money, right? It's sending money so that Google is the default browser. And so with those dominant positions locked in, the argument goes, other competitors in the search and search advertising business have no chance of competing effectively. So the ruling said, well, it's illegal for Google to spend this much money on all the other browsers to push google.com. And Mozilla went and looked at this and went, no, we like this. This is our only revenue. The $500 million revenue that Mozilla gets, that's the only money that they get. So Mozilla is like, no, please let Google send us money. We can still have google.com as the default search engine. We want this money, right? They didn't like this. Mozilla has always championed competition and choice online, particularly in search. The spokesman said in a statement to Fortune on Monday, "We are closely reviewing the court decision, considering its potential impact on Mozilla and how we can positively influence the next steps. Firefox continues to offer a range of search options, and we remain committed to serving our users' preferences while fostering a competitive market." So basically they're saying, okay, we are open to everything else that we are carefully reviewing, but basically they're going, oops, our main source of revenue is gone. That's what the spokesperson didn't say, but I'm willing to bet that's what they thought. Anyway, that's the problem, right? Google is still giving money to other browsers and in the process getting users to google.com and in the process getting those users to Chrome. So there's a problem and market share has dropped, right? We saw it was 30%, now it's like 2%, it's about an 80% drop, right? 80 to 85% drop. Now, the problem is, while all this is happening, you're thinking, okay, now Mozilla has to do something, right? They have to make money somehow. They have to gain market share somehow. What are they going to do? Interestingly, while all this is happening, while people are going to other browsers and leaving Firefox in the dust, if you look at the compensation of the people on the board or the CEO compensation, it actually went up. Okay? Users are going down, revenue opportunities are getting strangled, but the CEO gets a big pay hike, right? Let me show you. Firefox usage is down 85%. Yeah, it's around 85%. Despite Mozilla's top exec pay going up 400%. The pay of the top exec, look at this chart. 400% hike in pay for the people in charge of the browser whose usage is just dropping like crazy. And makes things worse. Mozilla recently announced that they would be dismissing 250 people. So they laid off people. This was not recent. It was 2020. All right. We are at 2020 now in the story. They fired a lot of people, right? Quarter of the workforce. So there are some deep cuts to their work too. The victims include MDN docs, which is another thing that I would recommend. People were searching for JavaScript tutorials. And when you would search at that time, around 2020, right? The top search used to be W3 schools, and it was such a mess of a website. It was full of inaccuracies. It was full of ads. And it's like it didn't make sense why Google would put W3 schools at the top. There's a conspiracy theory there. They don't want people to go to MDN at the time, but I'm going to set that aside. There's no basis to it. I can't prove it. But the fact of the matter is, back in 2020 or I don't know, when was this? Around 2020, right? 2019, 2018. When you would search for any JavaScript or HTML or any, like you want to learn anything like that, there was no ChatGPT back then. You had to Google. The top results would be W3 schools. They've improved W3 schools now, by the way. The website is a little bit better, but at the time, it was very bad. And the really good resource was something called MDN Docs, right? Mozilla Developer Network. I wonder what happened to that. It's still there. It is still there, thankfully. This is the one I was talking about. It's a great resource. But basically, they cut people from that at the time, right? This was like the web standard docs, and they cut it. The Rust compiler team was cut. Some cuts to the Firefox development, right? Like most people, I want to see Mozilla do well. Yes, that was me. In a way, that's still me. But those three projects comprise pretty much what I think of as the whole point of Mozilla. So this news was a big letdown. All right. So they cut people and they gave a pay hike to the execs, which doesn't make sense. But that's what happened. All right. Mass layoffs, 250 plus. And it's supposed to be a nonprofit, right? And it was behaving like the worst for-profit companies. And the worst part is, even besides that, right? They kept launching all these random products. The products that no one asked for, right? So they had, I think they still have the VPN product, which is crazy. I don't understand. So they acquired the reader Pocket. You folks remember Pocket? Like when you open a new Firefox tab, it would show Pocket read. It was kind of like a read later thing, which didn't take off at all, but they still did it. They had this thing called Firefox accounts, which nobody used. They had this thing called Relay, which nobody used. The thing to remember is that all of them were like server-side products. It wasn't like download and install and run. They needed a server-side component. And whenever a company tries to sell a server-side component, there's only one reason: subscription pricing. They want you to pay monthly or whatever, so they get money, right? Because there's justification for it. If you have a downloadable thing, you can say, well, Firefox is non-profit, so you shouldn't charge money. But if you have a server component, well, you can say, well, I need to run servers, and that takes money, and we need to charge money for it. Some of them were free, but they were like going in that direction. You know what I mean? Like they were kind of setting the stage for it. And they did some AI experiments when AI was just starting, but none of them worked, right? So this was a story, and now this gets us to the present, right? This was in the beginning of like 2025 or 2024, 2025. The controversy started. This is late 2024, I think. Privacy preserving attribution, PPA. I'll show you this thing. I don't know if you folks heard about this. If you're Firefox users. This was the first betrayal. This was the first time when I looked at Firefox and went, "What are you doing, man? What is this stuff?" Privacy preserving attribution. Mozilla disappoints us yet again, right? Firstly, they acquired an ad tech company called Anonym, right? This is the ad tech company, Anonym. they have added special software co-authored by Meta. Firefox, the non-profit company, is going and partnering with Meta, Facebook. What the heck? Why are you going and talking to Facebook of all people? Don't. Facebook is the bad guy. Don't talk to them. No. What are you co-authoring software and built for the advertising industry directly to the latest release of Firefox? In an experimental trial, you have to opt out of manually. So they've opted in by default, and you have to opt out of it manually. This is supposedly a privacy-focused browser. This privacy-preserving attribution, what the heck is this? It's an API that adds another tool to the arsenal of tracking features that advertisers can use. Right? This is not a feature for us as users. It's a feature for the advertisers. Okay? There was one more debacle that I'm not even going to talk about, right? So they're sneaking unwanted advertising and features onto our computers. Google's a mess. Google's doing all kinds of crazy stuff. If you open Chrome, you're basically handing off all your data to Google. That's about it, right? Chrome is basically sucking all the data, feeding their AI. Firefox was the one that was supposed to save us. And Firefox did crap like this, right? So they did something called PPA, and basically they were like bundling in your user behavior, your browsing behavior, and they would sell it to advertisers. And they said, hey, don't worry, this is anonymized. You're basically collecting in bulk and then selling. Why are you even doing this? Sure, it's anonymized. It's better than Chrome, maybe, but why even bring that in to a browser that was supposed to be good? They were supposed to be the good guys, and it was lack of consent, right? It was basically said you're going to opt it in by default and you have to opt out. And then they actually fixed it. They reverted it. Okay? There was a blog post where they introduced this and then they reverted it. And here's the thing where they say about all these features, right? If you see their blog posts, it's almost like you folks don't understand it. It's like it's too complex. Don't worry about it. We're gonna take care. We are the good guys. We have your privacy in mind, so we're gonna take care. No, we are not idiots. We understand what telemetry is. We understand what selling personal data is, and the fact that you are co-authors with Meta means that I am not. I don't know. You're not the good guys anymore. Okay, you're not. You're just not. Yeah, so you got to do this stuff to disable, and yeah, this thing didn't pan out, and there was a lot of public backlash, and so they removed it in the end. Okay, they said, okay, you're not going to do it. And then there was one more controversy. This was this year, 2025. Okay, this is another weird one. Let me show you. It just keeps coming. It's just one hit after another hit. For someone who's supposed to be, oh man, look, I'm gonna switch to read a view. So they had a terms of use update. Okay, they had a terms of use update that said, let me show you. New terms of use. People started bashing this. So they said, new terms of use. Let's take a look at this. I'm not able to find that particular thing. Okay, here it is. When you upload or input information through Firefox, you hereby grant us a non-exclusive, royalty-free, worldwide license to use that information to help you navigate, experience, and interact with online content as you indicate with your use of Firefox. What? You basically, when you use Firefox, you basically give Mozilla non-exclusive, royalty-free, worldwide license to do whatever you want with that data, as you indicate with your use of Firefox. No, I don't indicate giving data with using Firefox. What I want to do with Firefox is use Firefox and keep my own stuff. He was a funny, you folks know Brendan Eich, right? He was the guy who worked in Mozilla, his creator of JavaScript. This was his reaction. WTF. This was a huge controversy at the time. Brendan went on to create Brave browser, which has its own controversy. I'm not going to get there, but if Brendan is saying this, well, of course he has his intensive incentive to say it because he wants to make people switch to Brave, but it's crazy, right? This is crazy. So the community starts shouting, and they basically like, you want a license for my data? Like what data? Are you gonna take my username? Are you gonna take my password? What are you gonna do? And then Mozilla kind of backpedaled in a few days, right? They said, okay, we're going to rewrite the terms. They also removed the thing which says, there was this terms and condition which said, we don't sell your personal data. They removed it from the terms and said, well, we don't sell data the way most people think we sell data. We sell data in a slightly different way. It's like, what the hell? What the hell? It's just, this is corporate speak. This is literally what Mozilla was not supposed to be. And if your original co-founder looks at your terms and conditions, looks at what you're doing, and their public response is WTF, maybe that's a sign that you're doing something bad. I don't know. So this is the history. This is the track record that gets us to this week, where there is a new CEO, and he wants Firefox to be a modern AI browser. Give me a second. I'm gonna open the window because I'm getting annoyed again. This is bad, man. This is bad. Okay, so there is a new CEO. I'm gonna show you the Mozilla announcement. It was this guy, right? New CEO, who wants to build the world's most trusted software company by adding AI. Well, good luck. Good luck, my friend. Today, I step into the role of CEO of Mozilla Corporation. It's a privilege to lead an organization with a long history of standing up for people and building technology that puts them first. Yeah, not a very long history. It had a long history in the past, but recently, you're not doing that. Here is the problem. First, every product we build must give people agency in how it works. Privacy, data use, and AI must be clear and understandable. AI? What AI? Controls must be simple, okay? AI should always be a choice, something people can easily turn off. It's the same story all over again. First of all, AI, if it's a choice, why is it even there? Why bring AI into browsers? It has no business being there. What's the point of a browser? We want to browse. We don't need AI. OpenAI creates their browser with AI built in. And, Edge has its own browser with AI built in. And everybody wants to build browsers with AI. Why AI? Firefox will remain our anchor. It will evolve into a modern AI browser and support a portfolio of new and trusted software add-ons. You know why they're doing AI? Do you know why? Because what is the biggest source of data for companies today? The biggest source of data. It's the internet, right? And what's the way you browse the internet? It's with your browser. You might go, well, if people want data, why not just get it from the internet? Why do they have to hook into your browser? Well, guess what? Not all places on the internet is data accessible. Websites that have content have become smart now. They are trying to see how they can make money, because OpenAI or Anthropic or whatever, they want to get data without paying money. And companies like Reddit, for example, go, no, we have the data. We want money for taking the data. So Reddit made a deal with OpenAI and said, well, we host all the data. You want to train your models with our data, you're going to have to pay us. Okay? So OpenAI pays Reddit money to get user data in order to train. Any content website now is going, well, no, you can't just crawl our content. You need to pay us money. But now, guess what happens if you hook in to the browser? You don't need to go to those guys. You have the user data directly from the user. You don't have to worry about permissions. Is a page private or protected? Is there authentication? Nope. All the data is going directly from the source, from the browser. So, data is the new oil. You're very right, Abhishek. It is the new oil. It is the main source of money. Like it's you need data to train AI models, and people have already exhausted the available data. Now, how do you get models to become smarter? You need this constant stream of data coming in. There's no way you can do that by crawling. The constant stream only comes from hooking that fire hose into all the browsers. So no wonder all these people who have a vested interest, who want to make money from data, are creating browsers. OpenAI is creating a browser. Perplexity is creating a browser. Anthropic, I don't know, is Anthropic creating a browser? If not, it's coming. All right, Anthropic is going to make a browser. You can bet on it. So Firefox is going, well, there's some amount of money that's coming from Google, but that's not sustainable. As more and more people go use that Google launching point and switch over to Chrome, it's getting to 2%. What are they going to do? They're going to go, well, we're going to make money. So you're making money with wiring in AI. All right. So it's not a modern web browser with AI. It is basically just another way for them to take your data and then sell it and then make money. All right. And it's the same story of you can opt out. Look at this nonsense. Look at this. AI should always be a choice, something people can easily turn off. That means that it is opt-in, right? They're going to turn it on by default. AI is going to be on by default. They're going to start taking your data and they say, well, you can turn it off. Well, how many people are going to turn it off? The default is what sticks, right? They're going to use it the way it is and they're going to get their money. Well, if AI should be a choice, well, if it's supposed to be a choice, why not make it opt in? Why make it opt out? They're counting that most people are not going to opt out. Okay, that's their goal. And they have like a 3-year transformation plan. This is a new CEO, right? This guy is a new CEO. His first statement is Firefox will be a modern AI browser. Now that doesn't bode well, right? This is literally the first thing he says. The first thing he wants to do is make money from Firefox. I'm willing to bet that that's why they brought him in as the new CEO. They want to get more money out of Firefox, as much money as possible. Yeah, so people are frustrated. I'm frustrated. Instead of becoming... So Firefox was in a really good position to be the anti-AI browser because everywhere else AI is being introduced. Firefox had a chance to stand out and said, no, we are not going to do that. You're sick of all the AI stuff. Come to us. We are the anti-AI. This is a time when we need privacy. We need browsers which are privacy focused. Firefox could have done that, but they didn't. Instead of removing bloat, they're just adding more bloat. They're solving the AI problem which users don't have. Like, why would you use AI for browsing? You're in a web page. You want AI to click buttons? Is that like what's a use case? Let me know in the chat, guys. If you guys can think of one decent use case for adding AI to browsers, I'd love to hear it because I don't see it. I don't see a single use case where adding AI would help. These guys are doing it no matter what, right? It's the same playbook. They did this with the PPI, PPA, PP, whatever that is. And they're doing this again. Privacy preserving. What the hell? So right now what's happening is, you want to zoom out, right? for all these years, I was like, you want something which doesn't have financial motives, you use Firefox. Now that's not true anymore. Now, what browser are you going to use? There is this browser monoculture that's happening right now because the core V8 engine that powers Chrome, right? The Chrome engine is in the Chrome browser, obviously, but now it's also in the Edge browser. It's also in Opera. It's in Brave. It's in Vivaldi. All these other browsers, which are supposed to be privacy focused, that's all using the Chrome engine underneath. Okay, yes, you do get a little more privacy using the Chrome engine on Vivaldi than the Chrome engine on Chrome. Chrome is basically just sucking all your data, right? If you're using Chrome, Google knows everything you're doing. You just take it for granted, right? They can speak all kinds of stuff about like, yeah, we have privacy focus. None of that is true, right? Google's taking all your data. So yes, you can use Brave or Opera and still have a Chrome engine and say, well, I'm not giving data to Google. But even then, the core engine is still Chrome, right? Firefox core engine is something called Gecko, right? And it is right now the last major independent browser engine because everybody else is using Chrome and V8. So if Firefox dies, Google has complete control over web standards. And it becomes the whole Internet Explorer 6 story all over again. You remember Internet Explorer 6 when that was the monopoly? Websites had to build for Internet Explorer 6 because IE6 would not follow the standards. They would do things their own way. And browsers were like, yeah, well, the standard is something else, but nobody cares about the standard. What they care about is what works for Internet Explorer because that's what people are using. It's going to be the same story all over again. Chrome is going to rule the whole browser landscape. And now they can do whatever they want. They can call the shots. They can say, well, I don't want to enable extensions. This is what actually happened. Chrome said there are certain extensions that they want to block. So AdBlock is a popular one. AdBlock right now works on Firefox because Firefox is like, yeah, we do what we want. We want to do something that's good for the users. At least this part is still true. Chrome is like, well, if you use AdBlock, it's going to hit their advertising revenue. So they disabled AdBlock. Now, if you're using Chrome, you are forced to see Google ads. There's no way you can bypass it. But in Firefox, you can still bypass it with AdBlock. Now, if Chrome is the default engine, well, guess what? This mechanism of installing extensions, whatever you want, is going to go away. It's only what Google allows as a legitimate extension. They can ban extensions which don't work and they won't work on any of these other browsers, right? They can deprecate whatever they want. And there was this manifest thing, which was the ad block thing, and it's who knows what else they're gonna block. So this is sad, and honestly, I don't know. If you ask me now what browser to use, I honestly don't know. I'm still gonna use Firefox, right? This is Firefox Developer Edition. I'm still gonna use Firefox because I want to wait and see what they have in store, what they're gonna do. But it doesn't look good. If they have AI chat bars, sidebars, sure, I can turn it off. There's more telemetry, more tracking. Who knows what they're gonna track? Features that they're gonna add. I don't know what they're gonna add. And if there is integration, if they have deals with AI partners, that's when I'm gonna eject. I don't know if they're gonna announce it. I hope they announce it, but I think I'm gonna get a gut feel for when Firefox is it's crossed over. I think it's already crossed over to the dark side. There's some point where I'm gonna get a feel that it's too much. We will see how their AI integration goes. I don't know. Hopefully it's still good. There are some Firefox forks, all right? So there is LibreWolf, there is WaterFox, all that stuff, which still uses the Gecko engine. I'm hoping the Gecko engine survives, right? Because if the Gecko engine goes away, Google has monopoly and we're all screwed. So I'm hoping the Gecko engine survives somehow, but I don't know. Are you folks switching? What are you folks using? What's your favorite browser? Let's build our own browser. I wish, man. I wish we can Wipe code a browser. It's about standards, right? It's about following the standards. It's a constant effort. Pale Moon, Waterfox. Do folks use this? I want to try this out. I want to try Waterfox. Actually, it's Opera was supposed to be good. Brave is what you use. How do you like Brave? Is it good? I don't know. I might switch over to other thing. I'll still probably Firefox Dev Edition. That's what I use. I probably still use Firefox. I'm gonna wait and watch for what else, what kind of integration they do, and if it's bad enough, I'm going to switch. Edge allows you to do this. Okay, I feel like it's time. The clock is ticking on that, because they're probably using a version of the Chrome engine, and Chrome introduced this manifest version 3, which blocks ad block. So I think Edge at some point they will have to follow, and ad block is going to go away as well, I think. I don't know. We'll see. People are betting on Ladybug. What is Ladybug? Is that a browser? I've never heard about it. Let's see. Ladybug browser. Independent web browser from scratch, backed by a non-profit. Okay, this looks interesting. Truly independent. No code from other. They're building a new engine. Yes, this is interesting. All right, let's see. No default. See, look at this. No default search engine deals. So they're not getting money from Google. Thank you for mentioning this. This is super interesting. I want to try this out. Where did you go? I'm trying to find you. Okay, I'm going to try this out. Thank you. Ladybug. This does look interesting. About. Get involved. How do I download it? Oh yeah, I have to get the code and build it? Really? Clone it, build it, and join. Wow, man, this is awesome. This is awesome. I might even do a live stream where I check out this browser. Thank you for mentioning it. So this is the story. This is why I'm very disappointed. I'm very sad. I'm heartbroken. Firefox, I loved you for so many days, for so many years. You were the one browser which was an escape from all this corporate encroachment of money-minded features and development. You gave us extensions. You gave us full control of the browsing experience. And you gave us the confidence that you weren't doing this for just making money to another company. But you let me down, my friend. You went and collaborated with Meta, of all companies. I don't know what to say. And now you're bringing AI into the picture. I'm going to wait and watch and see how the AI integration is going to be. But I'm heartbroken. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for joining. I had to rant and vent. Thank you for venting with me. I hope you have a good rest of the day and a good weekend. Thank you, and bye-bye.